How to improve your listening skills. Elara had always envisioned herself speaking English with effortless grace, engaging in profound conversations across continents. However, her initial attempts were frequently met with stumbling words and frustrating silences. She deeply desired to bridge the gap between her aspirations and her current linguistic capabilities, understanding that a structured approach was absolutely essential for true progress in learning English effectively. She recognized that simply knowing grammar rules was insufficient. Genuine fluency required much more. Elara craved the ability to express complex thoughts and emotions naturally, without hesitation or constant translation in her mind. This profound desire for authentic communication became her driving force, pushing her beyond comfort zones towards mastery of the English language. Her very first strategic step was to dramatically improve her listening skills, which she realized were fundamental. Elara immersed herself in English audio, consuming podcasts on various topics, watching films without subtitles, and tuning into English news channels constantly. This constant auditory exposure was her initial, crucial foundation. Initially, the deluge of sounds felt overwhelming, like a rapid river of unfamiliar words rushing past her ears. However, Elara persisted, focusing intently on the rhythm, intonation, and recurring phrases. She understood that active listening, not passive hearing, was the key to discerning meaning and absorbing natural speech patterns. After weeks of dedicated listening, a new challenge emerged. She could understand much more, yet countless unfamiliar words still blurred the sentences. Elara realized that learning new words efficiently was paramount, a critical next phase in her comprehensive English acquisition strategy for daily communication. She quickly discovered that isolated memorization of vocabulary lists was often ineffective and quickly forgotten. Instead, Elara adopted a method of learning words in context, encountering them within sentences, articles, and real-life dialogues. This approach rooted new words firmly in her memory. Elara started keeping a dedicated notebook, jotting down new words along with the full sentences in which she encountered them. She also utilized flashcard apps, specifically those employing spaced repetition, ensuring consistent review and reinforcement of the freshly acquired vocabulary at optimal intervals. Moreover, she made a conscious effort to immediately use any newly learned words in her own sentences, either by speaking them aloud or writing them down. This active application cemented the words in her long-term memory, transforming passive knowledge into usable linguistic tools for effective communication. With her listening skills sharpening and vocabulary steadily growing, Elara confronted her next significant hurdle: the profound fear of speaking. The thought of conversing with native speakers filled her with intense anxiety, fearing judgment for every mispronounced word or grammatical error. However, Elara knew that true fluency demanded practice, even if it meant starting small and feeling uncomfortable. She decided to begin her speaking journey in the safest possible environment, her own home, where she could experiment freely without any external pressure whatsoever. This led to a peculiar yet highly effective habit: talking to herself at home. Elara would narrate her daily activities, describe objects around her room, and even engage in imaginary dialogues with invisible interlocutors, meticulously practicing her English. She discussed current events with her reflection in the mirror, rehearsed hypothetical conversations, and debated various topics entirely in English, often adopting different accents just for fun. This private practice built significant confidence, eliminating the fear of public speaking. These solo conversations allowed her to experiment with new vocabulary and grammatical structures without the pressure of an immediate audience. It was a safe space for trial and error, a linguistic laboratory where mistakes were simply stepping stones to improvement, fostering natural expression. Elara discovered that talking to herself helped her organize her thoughts directly in English, bypassing the cumbersome process of translating from her native language. This internal shift was a crucial turning point, accelerating her path towards genuine fluency and spontaneous expression. This practice also significantly improved her fluency, as she learned to string words together more smoothly and retrieve vocabulary quicker. Her mouth muscles adapted to the new sounds, and her mind began to think directly in the target language, enhancing her overall communication abilities. Simultaneously, Elara embraced the immense power of reading English. She understood that reading was not just about acquiring more words, but about deeply absorbing grammar, sentence structures, and cultural nuances within natural, flowing narratives effectively. She began with simpler English books and articles, gradually progressing to more complex literature and academic texts. Reading became a window into the rich tapestry of English expression, providing context for everything she learned from her listening practice and daily self-talk sessions. Why reading is important became incredibly clear to her. It provided consistent exposure to authentic language, far beyond what any textbook could offer. Reading broadened her perspective, introduced her to diverse writing styles, and reinforced vocabulary in multiple, meaningful contexts effortlessly. Through reading, Elara intuitively grasped complex grammatical patterns without explicit memorization. She simply saw how sentences were constructed correctly. This organic understanding accelerated her journey towards producing grammatically sound and natural-sounding English sentences spontaneously. Reading also dramatically improved her fluency by expanding her knowledge base and giving her more to talk about, enriching her conversations. The more she read, the richer her internal lexicon became, empowering her to express herself with greater precision and nuance. The act of deeply engaging with English texts, especially fiction, allowed her to immerse herself in different worlds and perspectives. This cultural immersion through reading was invaluable, providing context for idioms, slang, and social cues she encountered in spoken English. Elara realized that to speak truly fluently, she needed to think in English first, rather than translating from her native tongue. This cognitive shift was perhaps the most challenging, yet ultimately the most rewarding, step on her entire journey. She consciously started narrating her daily thoughts, planning her day, and even dreaming in English. Every internal monologue became an opportunity to practice constructing sentences and expressing ideas directly in her target language, cementing her fluency. This constant mental rehearsal, thinking and speaking to herself, blurred the lines between internal thought and external expression. When it was time to speak, the words flowed more naturally, as if her brain was already warmed up and operating fully in English mode. Improving her fluency became a holistic process, a symphony of consistent listening, diligent vocabulary acquisition, brave self-talk, and extensive reading. Each component reinforced the others, creating a powerful upward spiral of linguistic development daily. Fluency, Elara understood, wasn't about speaking fast, but about speaking smoothly, with minimal hesitation and appropriate vocabulary. It was about conveying her message clearly and confidently, feeling completely comfortable and natural in her English expression. Her efforts started to bear visible fruit. The fear of speaking slowly diminished, replaced by a growing confidence. Her pauses became shorter, her vocabulary more varied, and her overall delivery felt significantly more natural and genuinely engaging in real conversations. The final frontier was interacting with others. Elara now felt much more prepared to talk to anyone in English, regardless of their native language or accent, embracing every conversation as a vital learning opportunity. She started by joining online language exchange groups, engaging in video calls with partners from around the globe. These interactions were invaluable, providing real-time feedback and exposure to diverse accents and speaking styles, significantly boosting her confidence. Elara learned that talking to anyone involved not just speaking but also active listening. She paid close attention to what others said, asked clarifying questions, and practiced responding thoughtfully, making conversations genuine two-way streets for effective communication. Mistakes were no longer paralyzing fears, but rather celebrated learning opportunities. Elara embraced corrections and politely asked for explanations, understanding that every error was a stepping stone towards greater accuracy and more natural expression in her dialogue. She also sought out opportunities to speak English in her daily life, whether it was ordering coffee, asking for directions, or engaging in small talk with tourists. Every interaction, no matter how brief, contributed to her growing fluency and self-assurance. Why you must read English became even more evident as she conversed. Reading provided the deep cultural context and nuanced vocabulary that enriched her discussions, allowing her to understand subtleties and express herself with greater precision and depth of thought. Reading English connected her to a vast global library of knowledge, opening doors to different perspectives, scientific discoveries, and artistic expressions unavailable in her native tongue. It was a gateway to universal understanding and intellectual growth. This consistent reading habit not only expanded her vocabulary, but also refined her understanding of idiomatic expressions and colloquialisms, making her sound more like a native speaker and enhancing her ability to connect with diverse English speakers socially. Elara's journey highlighted that learning English is a continuous, multifaceted process. It is a commitment to daily immersion, active engagement, and relentless practice across all linguistic skills, leading towards profound personal growth and expanded horizons. She discovered that true mastery was not a destination, but a lifelong voyage of continuous improvement and delightful discovery. Every day presented a new opportunity to learn, to grow, and to connect more deeply with the global community through language. From a hesitant beginner to a confident communicator, Elara's transformation was remarkable. She now spoke English fluently, thought in English naturally, and engaged with people from all walks of life with genuine ease and profound understanding. Her story became an inspiration to others struggling with English, demonstrating that dedication and the right strategies could indeed unlock linguistic potential. She passionately advocated for a holistic approach to language acquisition for everyone. She emphasized that consistent effort across all areas, listening, speaking, reading, and thinking, was absolutely crucial for achieving fluency. There were no shortcuts, only diligent, persistent practice that yielded truly impressive results over time. Elara always told aspiring learners to start by improving their listening skills, to truly hear and absorb the rhythm and intonation of English. This foundational step was paramount for developing a natural ear for the language from the very beginning. She then advised them to actively learn words in context, not just isolated definitions, but to see how new vocabulary functioned within sentences. This contextual learning made words stick more effectively and become readily usable in conversation. Her next invaluable tip was to talk at home to yourself, to create a safe, judgment-free space for experimentation and self-correction. This private practice built foundational confidence before venturing into public speaking arenas. Elara stressed the importance of thinking in English, to train the brain to process thoughts directly in the target language, bypassing the inefficient translation process. This cognitive shift dramatically improved both fluency and spontaneous expression. She passionately explained why reading is important for everyone, emphasizing its power to expand vocabulary, internalize grammar, and provide deep cultural insights. Reading offers endless exposure to authentic, rich language patterns daily. For improving fluency, Elara recommended combining all these strategies. Listen, speak, read, and think in English every single day. Consistent, varied practice was the undisputed key to seamless and confident communication in any situation. She particularly highlighted the importance of reading English, stressing its role in enriching one's vocabulary and understanding of nuanced expressions. Reading provides the essential backdrop for truly articulate and meaningful conversations. Elara also guided others on how to talk to anyone in English, encouraging them to embrace mistakes, ask questions, and focus on genuine communication over perfect grammar. Confidence blossomed through courageous, consistent real-world interaction. Her own journey from struggling student to fluent speaker perfectly illustrated that learning English is a journey of continuous personal growth and discovery. It truly opens up a world of professional and personal opportunities. Ultimately, Elara believed that English was more than just a language. It was a powerful tool for connection, a bridge to diverse cultures, and a key to unlocking one's full potential in an increasingly interconnected global society. Her final message to all aspiring English learners was simple yet profound. Embrace the process, be patient with yourself, and never stop practicing. Every little step forward contributes to the grand tapestry of fluency you are weaving. And so Elara continued her journey, not just as a fluent English speaker, but as a passionate advocate and mentor, inspiring countless others to embark on their own transformative linguistic adventures with unwavering determination and joyful curiosity.